So guys, welcome to the first of hopefully many workout run-throughs. There's definitely a better way of doing this, but I basically uploaded this video to Loom and I'm recording it over it with a different Loom. So yeah, we'll work it anyway as we go. But this is my push workout. So I'm starting off here with cable, behind the arm cable laterals. I always tend to start my push workouts with my side delt movement. And I suppose a few reasons for that. Number one, you're hitting them when you're at your freshest. The side delts aren't a big muscle group, so you hitting them early, like it's not going to take away from your performance in your pressing movements after, if that makes sense. Whereas if I, did a tough push workout and then say threw on side laterals at the end, I'm already fatigued and I'm probably not going to get the most out of them. Plus, I think by getting some blood into the shoulders, it tends to make the pressing movements that come after feel that wee bit better. So that is my reasoning for it. A few points here on the setup. So when you're setting up your cables, you want to have them at hand height. That's going to put most of the tension on the side delt when it's in its stretched position. So you'll probably hear me talk about that in multiple videos, but basically most of the muscle, most of the growth in an exercise and most of the hypertrophy will take place when the muscle is fully stretched as opposed to when it's squeezed. So if you take like a bicep curl, for example, when you have, say, the barbell or the dumbbell or cable or whatever at the bottom, so it's in that starting position, from there to there, that's where most of the good stuff's happening when the bicep is fully stretched. Whereas when you complete a full rep and you go up here and you feel the squeeze, research now would indicate that there's probably more stuff happening in the stretch than in the squeeze, if that makes sense. So you probably want to be biasing the stretch, if you like, in the majority of your exercises. Not necessarily all of them, but I do think it makes sense to do that. So that is my reasoning for using the cables, and also for having them at hand height here. By having them at hand height, the exercise is hardest when the delt is fully stretched, if that makes sense. So that is the reasoning. In terms of how I perform this exercise, so I've probably changed it over the last number of years, or my side lateral movements in general. I would have typically gone right out of the side like that, whereas now I go out at 45 degrees in the scapular plane. I'll throw an image on the screen here showing you what I mean by that. So that's, I would say, a better way of doing your side lateral movements. And again, for all exercises really, you want the concentric part, which is that part there, is in sort of the push movement, if you like. You want to do that as explosively as you can. You want to take a slight pause in the stretch, where I am here. And then you want to have control on the eccentric of the lowering part. You don't want to let gravity take over, if you like, and just, let the weight fall. There's still stuff happening there. So explosive, and then try and have some bit of control. Now you'll see here towards the end, there's two things to note, I suppose. The rep speed is slowing down, as in it's taking me longer now, even though I'm still trying to do it explosively, it's taking me longer to complete that concentric part of the exercise, but also the range of motion drops off. So I'm now no longer able to get it maybe up the whole way as I get closer to it. And that's when you know you are training hard enough. When I first sort of heard that, probably a bit of a Dunning-Kruger effect, if you like, in action. You start off, getting into the gym, whatever, and learning about this, and you see, okay, I need to be training hard. And then you start realizing, or then you hear, okay, well, actually, if you train with 2 or 3 reps in reserve, then you're going to be seeing similar muscle growth effects, if you like. And while that is true, most people, especially beginners, do not train hard enough. They do not even hit that threshold. Like they might think they're training with 2 or 3 reps in reserve, but they actually could be much further from it, if you like. So that's what I thought. What was I saying? So yeah, basically, so the best way to know, right, am I close to that sort of 0 to 2 reps in reserve proximity, is to look at your rep speed and look back and see, right, are the reps towards the end slowing down? Is it taking me much longer to complete the rep? And you see here it is. The range of motion is also dropped off. But the reason why I'm still going is, if you look here, so as I said, this first part of the exercise, this where the delta is fully stretched. So there's still, it's still moving. I'm still getting some tension there. So that's why I think at the end it makes sense to, even if your range of motion drops off, still see if you can squeeze out a few more partials. So yeah, that is exercise 1. I think I did 3 sets of that exercise. Now I'm on to my first compound here in the flat dumbbell press. So to train your chest optimally, you probably want to have a flat press in there, an incline press, and a fly. Now I have my fly on my other upper session, which I'll run through again some other time. But one thing I see people do quite frequently is they rush into their first working set, if you like. Now if you look here, I have the 25 kilo dumbbells in my hand, and this is my first set. Now this isn't an actual working set, this is a warm-up set, and the goal of this basically is just to get a bit of blood flowing into the chest. So I think I did like 5 or 6 reps here. Then I grabbed the next set of dumbbells, which was the 32.5, I think. And again, same story. Do maybe 3 or 4 reps just to get the chest used for what used to what is about to come, if that makes sense. So that's 2 warm-up sets I've done. Now I'm into, this is the 40 kilo dumbbell, I think. Yeah, and I think I just did 1 here. Now that one there, you could argue, okay, what's the point of that? You're just doing 1 rep. But my first proper set here, I'm using the 45s. If I went straight to that, I would be at risk of injuring myself. Like my chest wouldn't be fully, like that's a heavy enough weight, especially for a man my size. So you don't want to go straight into them first working sets. You want to make sure you're doing, you know, I'd say at least two warm-up sets for your compounds. Maybe for isolations you can do, 1 or so. Like even for the side laterals there, like I still did, I think maybe 2 warm-up sets just to get a wee bit of blood flowing in there. And as I say, you're not doing like a full, 10 to 15 or whatever reps. You're just doing 4 or 5 at the start, and then as the weights get heavier, that's when the number of reps you'll do in those warm sets will drop, if that makes sense. So yeah, basically at this point then I was ready to go, and I'm into the first working set here. Now again, if you're thinking what I said earlier about the stretch, the chest is fully stretched at the very bottom. So you want to make sure that you're really milking that part. That's when you see people, having a set of dumbbells and they're sort of bringing it down, halfway. It looks impressive because they've got a heavier set of dumbbells, but they're actually missing out on the best part of the exercise where most of the good stuff happens, if you like. Now, what I don't like here, and I've been trying to sort of play around with the setup, because the dumbbells are so big, not necessarily heavy, because they're so big, if you like, it's harder to nearly bring it out further. So if I was trying to be as optimal here as I could, if you like, I'd probably want to get a little bit deeper if possible. But as you see there, the dumbbell is actually coming down and hitting my chest, so it's hard to get any deeper on it, if you like. But again, I'm trying to be explosive on the way up, the concentric. I'm trying to control the eccentric, so I'm not letting gravity fall. I'm trying to keep a wee bit of tension there. I'm taking a slight pause in the bottom, in the stretch, and then I'm pushing up. And I think I got 10 reps here with this, was last week I got 8. Now if you can do that last rep there, it is much slower, and maybe could have done a partial after that, but that was the last full range of motion set. Now this is set 3 now. I think on the first set I got 10 reps. I'll show you my sheets actually after this as well. Second set I think I got 8. Your performance should dip in the sets that follow. Like if you look at your program, for example, or you look at your logbook and you see, right, in last week I did 3 sets of 10 on the first set, 3 sets, or sorry, I did a set of 10 in the first set of 10 in the second set of 10 in the third set, all for the same weight. It's more than likely a sign that you were not pushing yourself hard enough. So in the second set, I was pushing myself every bit as hard, but I lost 2 reps, and that'd be pretty normal. The reason why then I dropped it to the 42.5 kilo dumbbells for this last set was that it would have taken me out of the rep range. So every exercise has a rep range, if you like. For this one here, it's 8 to 12. So if I see that, right, or maybe it's 7 to 10, it's one or the other. But if I see that, okay, I feel like for this rep now, or for this set, I will fall out of that rep range, as in the weight will be that heavy that I won't meet, say, 8 reps, then what I would do there is I would drop the weight so that you will stay within that zone, if that makes sense. So I think I got 10 reps here for this. And again, I'm still doing the same approach, taking the slight pause at the bottom, controlling the lowering, pressing up. Now again, towards the end here, it's starting to get significantly slower, and it's starting to get really hard. But as you see, it's still moving. Now, that there, for example, whenever you see that, that's when you're right, I'm on the money here. And then the last rep just really melted the eccentric, so I was happy with that. Then I'm into the incline barbell press. So I have the incline barbell press on both workouts, but on the push one here, I have a 30-degree bench angle, whereas on the other one I have a 45-degree bench angle. In general, the more of an incline you're at, the more upper chest it becomes, but then if you go too high, you start to feel the front delts taking over. The sweet spot is probably around 45 degrees, give or take. So I actually this is 72.5 kilos here. I was stuck on 70 kilos for the last 3 weeks, sorry. So I got 10 reps with 70 for the last number of weeks, and I just thought, you know what, today I'll give 72.5 a go. I personally find it easier to progress, in slightly lower rep ranges. Now, obviously 10 reps isn't a lower rep range, if you like, but to me, it would be easier to say get 10 reps with 72.5 than get 12 reps with 70. That makes sense. It's probably a mental thing, and then they want, it's still a form of progress, if you like, either way. But I took 72.5 and I got 10 reps. Now you'll notice here as I'm approaching the end, there's a wee bit of an arch coming in. Now again, same story here, pause in the stretch, explosive concentric, and then lower the eccentric is a little bit slower, under control. But it's here towards the end, the reps again are getting slower, but there's a little bit of an arch coming up there towards the end. So you want to try and minimize that if you can. It's not a major deal really, but if you start arching excessively, then you're basically turning an incline into a more of a flat press, if that makes sense. So something to be mindful of, but again, I'm just happy with that. This is the second set. I think I was more aware of the arch. A wee bit of it there maybe. But again, I think I got 10 reps on the first set, and this was, I think 7 or 8 reps I got maybe, which was the same on my second set last week. And again, if you look there at that last rep, so it took me a good number of seconds to complete it, and in that moment there, people can often panic and think, geez, I'm not going to get this. But I think the more experience you get, you know whether you have a rep in you or not. And I know sometimes there's just a moment like you're going to be stuck there maybe for a few seconds, but if you just sit with it, stay composed and push through, you normally get it. Then I'm on to dips. So these have been recently added in to my, just conscious of the time here, don't want this being too long. These have been added into my workout now since. The hardest part of these is actually getting the setup right. Some people use a dipping belt. I'm not a big fan of it. With the dipping belt, the fact that the plate is here, I find it sort of pulls me forward a wee bit, whereas I find with this, it's sort of, the weight is sort of more secure, if that makes sense. But again, basically what I'm thinking about here is going down as low as I can. Some people used to say don't go down too far because you'll damage your shoulder. Not an issue. Obviously if you have shoulder issues, then I wouldn't be doing that, but go as low as you can really. Because again, the lower you get, the more of a stretch that you'll get. So again, lower it under control, slight pause in the bottom, and then explode up. And I've got 40 kilos here. Now I've actually progressed quite quickly on this exercise, which again I'll show you when I'm going through the sheets. This is a new movement, and normally for newer movements, like if you put in a new exercise into a training block, you see very fast adaptations. So I think in week 1 of this, I had the 27.5 kilo dumbbell here, and each week thereafter I was matching reps but increasing the weight. So this is 40 kilos. Now funny, when I recorded this set, and again my rationale here again was, right, I'm going to do full range of motion, maybe a soft lockout, and then I'm going to see if I can squeeze out a few partials. And when I was looking at in the moment, I felt right that I had nothing more there. That was taken to the house. But then I looked back on that one and I was like, maybe I had 1 or 2 more there, as in 1 or 2 more partials, as in it still moved relatively quick, or is still moving relatively quick. So I was like, maybe could have got 1 extra there. So that's why I said, right, I'm going to record this second set, because if the camera's on me again, I'll not wimp out. So the rep count obviously dropped for this set. I think I got 10 or 12 in that first set. I think I got 9 here, but I was conscious of, right, I know the range of motion is going to drop off, but I can still get a few more partials out of it. So again, really maximize the stretch. I'm taking the slight pause in the bottom, and as you see here, I'm still trying to move. And again, maybe could have got another. But I think this really shows, and this is something you're going to be talking about a lot here, is the importance of recording your sets. I know when you're maybe new to the gym or you haven't done it before, you will feel uncomfortable doing it. Nobody cares. That's the first thing I suppose to point out. Nobody cares. And you can't be salty about it. Like, I don't have a tripod or anything. I just tend to set it up on the bottle, either on the floor or on a nearby machine. And when I'm recording my sets, yes, I'm looking at my form, but I'm more so probably looking at my intensity. To be able to look back and see, right, could I have went again there? Like, if somebody held a gun to my head and said, keep going until you literally cannot move, the weight anymore, or do another rep, could you have went again? And that's why I would do it, is to look back and see my intensity. So often when you're doing a set, like, you might feel in the moment that it was really hard, like I did, like this felt really, really tough. But you could be surprised if you look back and assess the rep speed and see, right, well, based on that, could I potentially went again there, or did I have a few more reps in me? So it's really, really beneficial that you do that, especially if your goal is building muscle. You want to make sure you're doing that. Now, and then on to the overhead tricep extension. Now, the camera angle isn't great here, but again, when you are trying to work your triceps, the overhead variations are probably better. They target the long head, or they bias the long head more. So again, I'm trying to keep my elbows fixed here, and just think about extending my elbow essentially. Again, same rationale. Control the eccentric, the lowering part. Take a slight pause in the bottom, and then press up. Now you see, you can look at my arm here. You see it's starting to slow down. And again, maybe could have done a partial there. Potentially. But funny, I then recorded the last set, and I was actually quite disappointed with this. So again, form wise, happy enough, elbows remaining fixed, and wrapping them out nicely. But then as I approach the tail end of the set, so you see it's still moving pretty quickly here. So the burn is, my triceps are burning. It's definitely difficult, but it's still moving pretty quickly. And excuse me, this might be the last one. Now looking at that now, in the moment I thought, that was a good set. But if you look at the rep speed, or how long it takes me to complete this concentric, that's the second last rep that I did, and that's the last one. Now yes, there you see I'm stuck in sort of the lengthened part. Maybe I can't complete a full rep at this point, but I definitely had another couple of partials there. So, and again, that's why it's so important to do that, because you'll see, like, in the moment I thought, right, that's a very productive set, no more partials. But then looking back, I was like, geez, I definitely could have went again there. So yeah, happy to show the physique update. Happy enough with how condition is holding. I'm 75, I think, at the minute. Yeah, I'm in around 75, and still some of the outline of abs, and happy enough with condition. So I want to show you now my sheets. So my coach is Steve Hall. Shout out Steve for watching, from Revive Stronger. And I've worked with Steve for the last probably a year and a half, and really enjoying the process. But just to show you my sheets here, so that's the workout there that I'm just after completing. So basically the idea each week is that you will either match or beat your performance, and that can either be adding reps or increasing the weight, or maybe even saying, right, if I got 10 reps but they were a wee bit ropey, maybe I didn't feel they were amazing, progression could be, right, I'm going to do a cleaner set of 10, if that makes sense. So basically in week 1, I tend to leave 2 to 3 reps in reserve for the compounds, 1 to 2 for the isolations. So if you look there, for example, week 1 on the flat dumbbell press, I was doing 42.5 kilos for the first 2 sets and got 8 and a 6, then dropped it down for the last set and got 10. Then the next week I increased it. So 8 reps, 8 and 6, 8 and 7. Then I went on to 10 and 8, so you see 2 reps gained this week, and then actually kept 42.5 there, didn't drop the weight like I did for the week previously. And then week 4 took on the 45s, and then 42 for the last set. So basically, when you're tracking your lifts again, it allows you to see, right, what did I do last week and what should I do this week, if you like. So I've started some of these because there are partials there where, right, I could no longer complete a full range of motion rep, but I had a few more partials, so I had to star them. So week week 7, so that was yesterday's session that I'm just after completing. So you see that in the last number of weeks, the isolations are slowly moving up. They're always going to be a wee bit slower than the compounds, but here I was stuck on 8 reps with the 45s for I think 2 or 3 weeks in a row, and yeah, I was happy to get the 10 reps there today. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. So now the dip, sorry, is what I was saying, they progressed quite quickly. So week 1, 27.5, then on to 30, 32.5, 35. Now that won't happen every week, or that won't happen for, I'd say for the next block of training after that. I'll probably be doing it'll be a similar progression to what I'm seeing here on the flat dumbbell press, where I may be adding a rep every second week or so. But yeah, I try to keep this one short, guys. I didn't think it would be over 20 minutes, but that is essentially my push workout, and I'm looking forward now to going through these in more detail. I've got a few others recorded now this morning, so looking forward to doing the voiceovers on them as well. So yeah, hopefully you found this one insightful. If you can like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff, that'd be much appreciated. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.